before we get started, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jackie Waldberger with Belmont Village Senior Living, and I'm joined today by a couple of people I work with every day. Our Director of Occupational Therapy, Leanna Smith.
Good morning. Hi.
And our physical therapist, Greg Schultz.
Morning.
It's morning here in California. I know some of you have already had your coffee. Just give us a break. We're catching up to you. So a couple of pieces of business before we get started. So due to an overwhelming amount of interest in Joan's presentation, we received many questions in advance. So Joan will not be answering the live Q&A feature today. However, both Leanna and Greg have graciously agreed to stay on after Joan's presentation to answer any general questions that you may have. They certainly have a lot of experience working with seniors every day, both independent seniors and seniors that may be facing challenges or conditions. So they will be on after the presentation to answer your general questions. Additionally, we have our trusted family advisor, Susan Berger. Say hello. That's Susan over there. Susan is on standby via telephone, and she certainly has a wealth of information about our services at Belmont Village, including our nutrition and fitness programs. We're going to flash her contact information at the end of the webinar for you to be able to give her a call. And she will be on standby, and she's wonderful. Stephanie Zavarino out in Florida is going to be moderating the Q&A. So please feel free to enter any questions that you have, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, the reason why we're all here, everyone, to meet fitness phenom, Joan McDonald. Welcome, Joan.
Welcome. That's right. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It is such a privilege and our honor to have you. Gosh, you have no idea how much you've impacted us. And I even shared with the CEO of our company. I said, my goodness, look at Joan McDonald. And we were all blown away. And she urged me to have you on so that all of our residents and the seniors that we work with and their families can be inspired by you. It's been truly amazing. I believe you have 1.6 million followers on Instagram and growing. Did you ever think when you started your journey that you would be influencing so many people?
I had no idea, and it was just because my daughter wanted me to be more outgoing that she introduced me to Instagram, and I just thought, well, it can't hurt. So I just started talking to people, and yeah, it's grown way overwhelmingly. It's just amazing. I didn't know I could have that much influence.
That in itself must keep you going as well. Well, I thought what I would do, since not everybody in the audience is following you on Instagram or social media just yet, I thought we would show a video clip about your story so that we can bring the audience up to speed. Anne, would you go ahead and play that for us?
Hi, my name is Joan McDonald, and I started this journey of mine, the transformation, almost 3 years ago. My daughter Michelle came to me and she was on the verge of tears, and she said that I have a choice here. Mom, you got a choice. Either you're going to end up in a hospital needing a lot of care. You can do this. You can make yourself better, and I'll be there for you all the way. The first time we left Michelle and JJ's condo to come down to the beach, and it was not near as far as this one. We had to stop many times along the way because I just did not have the energy to keep going. I was They just didn't know if I was going to pass out on the way or not, and they'd have to drag me home or send me home by cab and then do whatever they had with by lock it up somewhere. Yeah, it was really hard to even get down to the first part of the beach. Never mind all the way down to where we are right now. It's 6 miles. I can go faster than some of the young ones, which makes me feel good. I cook differently now. I cook healthier than I used to. Oh, I definitely have more energy in my daily life. I still get tired because when I work out, I put my all into it. But a half hour of downtime will perk me back up again, and I can keep going. The worst exercise I think I did when we first started was doing the planks, like side planks, weighted planks. I would collapse every time she told me to, okay, now you can have a rest. I would just collapse on the mat. Technology was very new to me. It was like another language. I felt like I was on another planet. Never mind. Big thing is having support. I had to have that support, and the YHH group was truly my support. They helped me along when I felt bad about myself. We wanted to make a difference to ourselves, and we weren't sure if we were doing it, but when you saw the pictures, you could see that we had done what we were supposed to do. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you got a little bit of encouragement from what I've told you. It's not an easy journey, but it's well worth it.
Wow. Thank you so much for allowing us to share that, Joan. Gosh, can you tell us maybe just a little bit about yourself prior to the media sensation that you've become? I mean, what kind of person were you before you were Superwoman?
Well, I hope I wasn't that dramatically different. I was well overweight. I was having trouble with my breathing and climbing up and down stairs. That was becoming pretty bad for me. I sounded like an old steam engine. I hated my picture being taken. And when you see my before pictures, you can understand why. I was sick of the way I was feeling, tired, out of breath, and ugly. Not really ugly, but I mean, just not pretty at all. I just felt really bad about myself. And it was such a negative feeling. And once I got into the program with my daughter, thank goodness she was able to talk me into it. It was a decision I had to make, and it took me like a week or so of thinking about it, because I had to listen to her tell me what to do, like the reversal of roles there. And she doesn't make any bones about anything. She said, you have to do exactly what I tell you to do. And then you'll get results. And I needed to get off my medication. That was one of the key things that drove me to agreeing with her, was they wanted to up my medication. And I'm going, I don't want more. I want to get off. And she gave me the way to get out. And I took it. And by the time that first year was almost finished, I was off my medications. And that was with the doctor's help. My doctor was very willing to, if she'd make sure I got off them, if I could do what I promised I'd do. So yeah, that was incentive enough for me.
Wow, that's really incredible. Thank you for sharing that. I know that many of us can relate to exactly how you felt, and we really appreciate you sharing that. I know it's very intimate, but it's so important that we can hear that. Thank you.
Hi, Joan. So I have a question for you. Do you ever experience loss of motivation? And if so, how did you get back on track?
Okay, I was discussing this with someone earlier and I can't afford to lose motivation. I've lost motivation at times. I want to throw in the towel, but it only lasts for minutes because I want results. I want my life to change. So I couldn't, it had to be a mental thing. You don't want to go back to the starting point ever. Progression is the only key for me. And that was motivation, and getting off the medication. That was definitely a motivator. So, yes, you can have days where you feel kind of down and out, but it doesn't last, or you shouldn't let it last. It's got to come from within. You've got to say, no, I don't want this kind of life. I want a better one.
It sounds like
I hope that answers your
motivation.
question.
It sounds like motivation in itself is a muscle.
Almost, yeah. Oh my gosh.
So if you don't mind, can you tell me again what motivated you again just to change your life?
Again, the way my life was, being overweight, being on medication, being unhappy, that alone. And then my daughter saying that she could change that. I had to finally make a decision to change my life.
Thank you.
And that was it.
Hi, Joan. Glad to hear you're happy now. So my question is, did you have any pain or any injuries before your lifestyle change, like any sort of chronic pain? And if you did, how does all that stuff feel now?
Okay, I have osteoarthritis, which I think 90% of the population has some of. There are days when I couldn't lift things, but I take glucosamine slash chondroitin, and that helps me at least keep going. Like I can bear the pain at times. I don't have pain constantly, but when I have it, it does stop me sometimes, or at least impede my progress. I've had injuries. I've had a knee replacement. That was done a few years before I went into the program, and it didn't heal exactly the way I'd liked it to. I didn't have that flexibility that I was hoping to get. But working the way I have has progressively gotten better. Okay. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. It doesn't happen in a month. It takes a long time, and it's just repetitive movements that will get you through it. And if you look at something this month and then you look at it the next month, then you can see the difference. But daily, you're not going to see that. You've got to be more open in your mind, accepting that anything that you really, really want changed is not going to happen immediately. You have to figure this is a lifestyle change. So you work at it day by day, month by month, and you will see the results, especially if you do what we suggest is to take those photos of the before, like when you first started, and then progress every month, taking other photos and putting them side by side, then you see what you can accomplish. I hope I didn't go on too long for that.
Not at all. No, we need every single drop of what you're saying. So please feel free to elaborate. I think a question that, many of us have, obviously we're seeing you now after all of this hard work and years of hard work really that you've put in.
Mhm.
Question that many people ask is, how difficult were the initial weeks and months? Were they very difficult?
Oh, yes. I had to learn technology, which was foreign to me. Um, I had bought an iPad and had my family try to teach me how to use it. And then thank God I had it when I did start this, because it gave me a way of communicating, because my daughter was in Mexico and here I was in Ontario. And the reception is not always the best in either place. And like learning how to use that, and then learning how to use the macros app as well. Like I didn't even know what apps were. Um, it was, I had an awful lot of time where I wanted to cry and just throw in the towel. That's where the initial one, that's where all that in motivation sort of flies out the window, but it comes right back at me like a boomerang. I had to do it. I knew I had to do it if I wanted to get anywhere. So the first few weeks until I got into the groove of learning how to eat, I had to change my my eating habits, like from the basic 3 meals a day, which sometimes I would only have 2 meals, to 5 meals a day. They were smaller, they were more balanced, and learning that the more, like, if you eat regularly every like 3 hours, your body has to work. I had a very slow metabolism, and eating those 5 meals a day kept my body moving until my metabolism got better and I was hungry. Because before I was that big and I wasn't hungry. Like it just doesn't make any sense that you can eat more now and lose weight. And it still boggles my mind sometimes when I think about that, because obviously your body it has a little mind of its own. It knows what it needs. It knows what to do with what you give it. And even though things don't make any sense to you, if you listen or follow the program, it works. Every time it works. Because I worked with like when my daughter first had me, and I was in a group of, I think there was 10 other women that were trying to change their lifestyle to make it more healthy. And we supported each other. And that's another thing that you need, is support. If you get people that say, what do you want to do that for? Because you're this age, blah, blah. Don't listen to anything negative. Make sure you have people that are encouraging you to do the best you can with what you have. And you will improve, and your life just gets better. It really does. I can't say that enough really anymore, because seeing the change in myself from being so unhappy and so big, and now I'm slimming down, even though I'm not trying to slim down. I still slim down because my body is what do you call it? Toning up, and every year I see a difference in the symmetry of my body. So, and if I can do it, and I'm not the greatest, then everybody can do it. They just have to be wanting to do it. You've got to want the results.
Wow. Well, we feel like you are the greatest, and you have just filled me with emotion right now. And what came to mind when you were speaking is that, life is hard and life is full of challenges. We can't avoid them. But the kinds of challenges that you have taken on have made your life better. And if we can choose those challenges, well, then why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we choose the challenges that are going to make us feel good?
That's
So,
true.
yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I believe I have another question, if that's okay. So you said your daughter was one of the motivating factors. So after you got motivated to make the lifestyle change, what were the first steps? Did you start with kind of looking at different exercise things you could do or different diets?
Well, the diet totally changed. I eat foods that I always ate, but I eat them in they're more balanced. I have so many she tells me how many much protein, how much carbs, and how much good fat I can have during the day, and I have to split them up into the 5 meals. Now I have a little bit more before and after my workouts because my body's going to need it. Always have protein in each meal because you can't build muscle unless you have protein. Now, the kind of protein you get doesn't necessarily mean meat. You can have the vegan can have legumes and oh my God, here I go again. You have different sources, and I also use protein powder. I use the best one I can. Well, naturally, I work for a company called Women's Best, and they cater to women who are trying to better their lives, whether they want to lose weight or they just want to build up strength or what have you. But their products are they're not no, what is it, GMO, and they're lactose free. They're anything that is, except that they have whey. They also have vegan products. So I mean, there's no reason why you can't use these products the way, like I can have anything. Other people can't have dairy products at all. So there's always something available in the market that you can have that will give you what you need in order to reach your goals of protein, carbs, and good fats. Now, I don't know if I went
No,
rambling
it
on there.
sounds to me, I'm getting the message that the very beginning of your journey wasn't really about the exercise as much as it was about changing the way you
Eating
eat
habits.
and your
Yes.
lifestyle and learning how to eat in a whole entirely different way.
Yeah.
So it sounds like those were the very first steps that you had to take.
Pretty well. Like, 'cause I've always been a strong person. I just didn't know that I had muscles, if you know what I mean. Like I did a lot of like my husband tells me what to do and I do it type of thing. He was the manager and I was the worker. So yeah, I've always been a strong person, but I wasn't really interested in having muscles or anything because I thought, I don't want to look like a guy. But that's not really how it turned out. I still have definition in my arms, and that I guess people really love it. And it wasn't that I tried to do anything with it. That's the way my body um, developed in my programming.
Well,
The exercise is really great, but not the food is major, I think.
the food is major. And I gotta admit, and I'm ashamed of myself, but for a second I got excited because when you said vegan products, I thought you said bacon products.
No.
I realized later, oh, she meant vegan products. And of course my mind was like, oh, I get to have bacon. But yeah, no, sorry audience, I misheard that.
So I have another question for you too. So far your story is very inspiring. what would you say, what are your thoughts about the statement mind over matter? Mind over matter. What are your thoughts about that statement?
It is, well, I've read a lot of motivational books, and they really do come down to that mind over matter, get you where you really want to go. So Gay Hendricks in the Big Leap, the Leap, Darren Donnelly with his sports motivational books, they all come down to mind over matter in a lot of it. If you can't change your mind to yes, I can, from oh, I can't do that, you have a problem. So yes, mind over matter matters. I don't want to elaborate too much on it because I'll get going off onto a tangent. So I hope that was good enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, feel free to go off on a tangent for any of my questions. I'd appreciate it. So in my experience, I've had several people say that they're too old to make a lifestyle change. So I just was wondering, what would you say to somebody that said that? Do you think
Well, I
there's a
don't know.
cutoff?
Is almost 71 too old, or is that too young? Because
I
that's
think
what
you're a
I
young
was
lady still.
when I first started. I was 3 months away from my 71st birthday when I started. And again, mind over matter. I don't think of myself, or I never really thought of myself as old. As a matter of fact, sometimes I act like I'm still in my 30s, because that's where I got. I just think that if I can do something, or at least I'll try. And that again is another key. Don't say you can't do something if you haven't tried it. It's just like, I don't like certain foods. Well, have you ever had it? No. Well, then how do you know you don't like it if you haven't tried it? It's for anything in life. Don't say no to something until you've at least tried it, unless it comes to recreational drugs. But other than that, I don't recommend that anywhere along the line. Yeah, you're never too old. You can always learn something from someone, whether they be younger or older than you. I've been following people that are a lot younger than I am. I think that what makes me feel like I'm younger, because I can relate to them. And I followed some women that are older that they don't realize that they're older either. It's a mind thing. If you think you're old when you're 40, you're probably going to act old. You're probably going to look old before your time. Never think that way if you can avoid it. Be as young. Be always connected with your child, your inner child. That's one of the things I try to recommend to people. Don't forget you were a kid once. When they say put away childish things, I don't believe in that. I think you should think like a child at times, because that'll get you connected with so many other people.
I really appreciate you validating that. I tend to feel the same way, but I'm from Los Angeles, so people just write me off like, oh, I'm trying to stay forever young. But really, hearing you say that provides a lot of validation to that mentality. So I will continue behaving immaturely. Thank you, Joan.
You're welcome. And you'll see the difference if people don't follow the protocols. Oh, you're a certain age, so you have to act a certain way, you have to dress a certain way, you have to speak a certain way. I don't agree with that. I think you should be allowed to voice your opinion. Not everyone's going to agree with you, but that doesn't make you right or wrong, nor does it make them right or wrong. It's a different opinion. How you dress is how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel good? As long as it makes you feel good, then what can be wrong with it? And as long as you're not putting somebody else down, you should be able to speak freely. I mean, we're all in this together. I can't discriminate against anybody because I think I've got friends in every category in this world. Doesn't matter color, creed, whatever. It doesn't matter because we're all living and breathing the same air. We all have to live. We all have to die. And just enjoy what you have while you have it. Anything else?
I would like to ask you another question. So what advice would you give to a client? They have multiple health challenges and they kind of feel like they are where they are. Is there any hope?
Yes, there is. And I think whether you're young, old or not, and your abilities could be restricted, but there's always something that you can do to improve. And like I said before, nothing is going to change dramatically in a short space of time. You've got to think of it as ongoing. And like if you could only take 3 steps because you have a disability, you keep practicing those 3 steps. Maybe you can take 4 the next time or 5. You know, you just keep adding until you can get where you want to go or do what you want to do. You can improve little increments, but you can improve constantly with your lifestyle. There's no reason not to. It's got to be that you want to do it. You see this, you want to get there, you want to do something, then do it. There is always hope. Once you give up hope, that's it. You have to keep that hope burning.
We're taking notes, Joan.
Oh.
So Joan, I'm sure when you first started up with the exercise that you had some new aches, pains, muscle soreness. How long did all that last before you started to get into the groove of exercising as intensely as you were?
Okay, when I first started, you do, especially if you overdo it, my advice to everybody when starting anything, any program, is to warm up your body whichever way you can. If you can do yoga at all, now a lot of people poo-poo that, but yoga is great because you stretch the body. And I can't do all the exercises that are in yoga. They can be very difficult, but I keep trying to improve constantly. But when you're doing something, exercising, always warm up your body. There's got to be at least 2-3 exercises that you can do to warm up your body before you get into doing anything else. And when you're finished your exercising, you cool it down by doing other exercises, like just letting, instead of being so intense, you just leave off a little bit, let your body cool down gradually. You're going to have aches and pains at the beginning, but even when you have a pain or an ache, as long as it's not debilitating, work through it. Because I've had times where I'm going, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I would try. And before you know it, I could finish what I was started out to do because my body had adjusted. So maybe 3 days at the most, you're going to have very little pain. or you should have very little pain. And like I said, just don't overdo it. Don't think you can lift up a 40-pound barbell right off the bat. That's crazy. You've got to start small and work up. It's called progressive overload. So you just keep, each time you do something, try to add a little bit of weight or add more reps until you feel comfortable. And when you start feeling that that's a little easy, then you go a little harder, either, as I said, with reps or with a little more weight. But it's, as long as you do that, you're going to see results. But be careful with your body. Don't do anything because you saw somebody else doing it. It's got to be you. It's what you can handle. And you should always be honest with yourself and not slack off, like doing something really, really simple and thinking it done great. You should always engage your muscles when you're doing exercises. Like you can feel them. Like I've seen girls, at the gym going like this. They're not doing anything. But if you have a small weight in your hand and you engage that muscle, you are going to feel it right off the bat. So be careful with yourself, but also don't be slack. Okay?
Okay. Well, actually, I think you just answered our next question, which was how to prevent injury. You mentioned stretching, paying attention, don't overdo it, start with incrementally. One thing I've heard different trainers say, and I may have even heard Michelle say it, is the mention of alcohol. A lot of trainers say they drink very little, very moderately. How do you feel about that? How does alcohol affect your training and your body?
It doesn't affect my body because I don't drink. I am not saying that I have never drank, but to me, I'd sooner have a meal than waste waste those calories in a drink. Like I don't need it. I can get really tired and be as silly as the next guy who's been drinking. That's just the way I am. And if you give me wine, you're going to put me to sleep anyway. So I don't. But you can have a drink, but you do it in moderation. And you always put it in your macros to find, like this is what I had. So it tells you what, so much wine or so much alcohol, how many calories that's going to be. Now you got to take that off from your daily count. And if it doesn't leave you with anything, I guess you're going to go hungry.
I guess so. I had thought maybe it was because it's maybe too relaxing for people, or makes people tired to want to work out. What about sleep? Is sleep an important component to
Sleep,
all of this?
oh, sleep is essential. Yes. My body seems to need 7 hours sleep. It's recommended 8 hours. I try, but if I wake up, like after 7. So 8 hours sleep every night. And if you get into a routine where you're in bed by 9:30, whatever, you're up in the morning fairly early, 8 hours later. So that'd be 5:30 if you're in bed at 9, or if you're in bed at 10, that'd be 6:30. So I mean, get the sleep because you really need it. That's how your body restores and builds what you've fed it all day. Yeah, most definitely. And water, that's another essential. At least 3 liters of water a day. More if you can, but try never to do less.
Thanks, Joan.
So Joan, how important do you feel weight training has been for you? You mentioned that you've been involved with progressive overload. Have you noticed any benefits other than muscle gain with weight training?
Yes, I think my stamina has increased quite a bit. Even if I got sick and I was off for, away from the gym for a week or two, when I go back, I don't go back where I left off, but it doesn't take me very long to get up to that speed again, if you know what I mean. Like it's if I sat in my duff all the time and didn't do any exercises, I would hardly be able to walk. I've gone through that before, like before I even started. If you sit around too long, you go to get up and you feel like you're 100 years old. It's awful how everything seems to seize up. So yeah, I think the weight training, the resistance helps an awful lot with your endurance and your stamina and your strength, just all over. It's vital.
Kind of a follow-up on that. How have your joints felt? Some people think that if you start weight training, that it can damage your joints. Have you noticed any sort of discomfort in your joints from
Well,
weight training?
ask the specialists. They tell you if you need, in order to build up the strength in your bones, that weight training is the best thing for it. If you do nothing, you're going to end up with brittle bones, more than likely. And I ask doctors, and I can, like I want to know stuff. So yeah, I have had my bone density done. Actually, the last time I had it done was just before I went down to Mexico, and it had been 8 years since the one prior to that. And in that 8 years, and I only had been doing it for 4 years of the exercise, I had not deteriorated. So
Did it increase
what
at
can
all?
I say? It worked. Didn't increase, but it didn't deteriorate. I thought maybe it would be stronger, but at least it kept me, my bones, and apparently they're pretty good. That's what I've been told. So I don't know what their parameters are for the bone density, but there's definitely not brittle. I don't know how many falls I've had just tripping over stuff or whatever, and I have yet to have a broken bone.
Well, that is
But that may be
really,
just the way I'm put.
you've got good bones. You mentioned earlier that you do have a condition of osteoporosis. And so the fact that in 8 years, your bone density has not diminished, it really does say a lot, actually. That's outstanding.
Well, when I first started, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when I first started out, I don't know, you people would know because you're looking after older people. You start getting this hump back here, what is it, dowager's hump, because most people are looking forward all the time. I had that when I first started, and you probably can see it in that first photograph when we're sitting, and I'm sort of sitting sideways, and you can see that little bit of a hump there. I don't have that anymore. I don't know how I got rid of it. Being forced to stand up straight. My daughter won't let me. She hates it when I just collapse like that. Yeah. I think if you have a tendency for that, there are back braces too that will really help you stand up straight. They're like a shoulder holster. And when you put it on, you have to stand up straight. Otherwise you're fighting the elasticity in the brace. So you stand up straighter, and you do this long enough, And I think you can start getting that curvature out of your back. I mean, if it hasn't progressed too far to begin with. But I believe that because like I said, I had that hump coming in the back of my neck, and I don't have it anymore. It's great.
A lot of young people suffer from that too, because we're born with a tablet in our hands now. We sit at our desk a lot, and
Pretty well. Yeah.
we're seeing it more and more. So good to know there's hope for that.
Joan, how do you establish a healthy exercise routine, and how does it change over time?
Well, I didn't establish it. My daughter is the coach, and she gives me the program.
Okay.
And she knows the bodies. Like there's different types of bodies, ectomorph and endomorph, and those. I don't even know all the names. I think there's 4 different ones. But anyway, she gets to know your body, and by just looking at it, she knows what she can tell you to do to get where she wants you to be. And it is a talent that a lot of coaches have, especially the ones that are famous coaches, because they've gone through it. They've seen so many people, they've seen the changes, and they study the body. Like, and that the coaches that I'm talking about really, they know the body. Now, is it Greg? You're the one that does the training of the bodies
Yeah,
where you are?
I'm a physical therapist. Yes.
Yes. So you have an insight to what a person could look like when you look at this person could be trained to do something, and you'd know more or less what to give that person to do that wouldn't damage them, but would help improve their lifestyle, right?
I'd like to think so.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of these coaches have a lot of in-depth training as well. They know their stuff, that's for sure. When you get talking to them, you're just blown away, like the knowledge that they have. Like they can name off muscles and all the rest of it. And I have no idea what's going on, but I can see the results in their clients. So they really do know what they're talking about, and they train everyone well. But my daughter did give me the programs, and I just follow them, and she gives me a new one every month, every 4 weeks. And I don't do the same exercises all the time. And when I do my exercises, I'm training either upper body or lower body, and different things in the upper body and lower body. That's 4 days a week. And then the 5th day is sort of a combination of upper and lower. So I work out 5 days a week. I started with 4 days, and I had 1 day of yoga. So that's only an hour that you're using for yoga, but still what I did when I first started out, because I'm trying to read the program as well and figure out what they were asking, took me about 2 hours or 2.5 hours at the gym. Now it's an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how much exercising I have to do. And there's always you don't do one exercise and go right into the next one. You have a rest period as well. Your body has to adjust. So I'm not sure if I got through that question or not.
Let's not do 16.
So would you recommend that if a senior wanted to start getting into exercise and they never had before, would you recommend they get a coach or a personal trainer to help
I
ease
would
that process?
highly recommend that. I would. I mean, you don't have to do it forever. you just need to get grounded. You just have to know a routine that can help you. And I mean, if they're any good, they will give you a program that you can follow even after you've finished with them. You know, they don't have to be, you don't have to commit to years of forking over money to get a trainer or a coach. But if you make sure you research and get feedback of, is this person really good? I mean, they should be able to give you people that they've trained or coached, and for you to be able to talk to that person or communicate with them to find out, was this person really good at what they did? Yes, I would recommend, definitely.
I think we have time for one more question, and it goes along with what you're saying with coaching. Actually, a lot of the questions that came in today that we couldn't put on the Q&A were about, finding the right coach. How much do they cost? I don't think we need to go into the minutia of that, but what I'm gathering here reminds me of a Martin Luther King quote, which is, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Take the first step in your journey. Get a coach. Start with somebody. It sounds like you're recommending that.
Yep.
And take it from there. And, I think additionally, Joan, you are on Instagram, and I believe you have an app coming out. Your assistant told me. So at Train with Joan, we can follow you on social media. And I believe you have an app coming out that's going to have pointers and things of that nature. Is that correct?
Yes, it's going to have a little bit of everything, nutrition. It's going to have, we saw the mock-up of it, and it has a lot of information on how to do everything. And it shows you all the exercises, as well as me speaking, as well as looking at an exercise being done. And like I said, the nutrition, a little bit about everything that we've talked about today should be on there, and it will grow better as we get more feedback from the app. And it's Plank is the one it's doing the app for us, and they've got a good reputation apparently. So we're hoping everything is perfect for you. Like, you only need one person in a group to have the app, and just follow it. And the other thing I want to recommend is just surround yourself with people who are positive or uplift, that give you that encouragement that you need. People that will say, okay, you can do this. Let's see what you can do. And just feed positive feedback constantly. Because if you get or leave yourself open to criticism all the time, you're going to lose interest. You need to be encouraged to make the best of your life now. You don't know how long you've got, but be happy while you're doing it. Live that life that you really want. Don't let others stand in your way. You can't be worried about what other people think. Really, you can't.
Your words are like an arrow shot straight and true, Joan. We have really enjoyed our conversation with you so much. I know that our audience has gotten so much from this, and we can't thank you enough. We hope to have you back again one of these days, and we'll be looking out for your app at Train with Joan. We'll be following you, and we just appreciate it so much from the bottom of our heart. Thank you, and we'll see you soon. Everybody else can stay on the call for Q&A with Leanna and Greg. And Joan, have a wonderful day.
And I
We
want to
hope see
thank you
soon.
for inviting. Yeah,
Absolutely,
I
our
want to thank you for
pleasure.
inviting me.
Thank you,
Okay,
Joan.
I'm gonna listen to what you've got to say when I get off. I'll just listen.
Okay, sure. Yeah, absolutely. That would be great. So we're going to head over to Stephanie Zavarino now in Florida. And she's going to go ahead and moderate any Q&A that came up throughout the webinar. Go ahead, Stephanie.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Thanks so much, Joan. Unbelievable. That was so inspiring and encouraging. One of the comments I have to tell you, which you'll appreciate, is no pain, no gain. And that is definitely true, because I've gone through some exercise regimes myself, and when I don't feel any pain, I feel like I didn't work out. So anyway, I love that comment. But yeah, talking about encouraging, one of the questions that came up has to do with that for Liana and Greg, it looks like fall prevention. It's a big problem with seniors. What can they do to help, and how can you basically encourage them to want to get moving? So I don't know who wants to take that, Liana or Greg.
Well, first I would recommend that they listen to Joan's story. Because why not? That's a great way to get some motivation, I believe. And then I would say it starts with a conversation with a healthcare professional. If they've already had a fall, reporting that to, say, their physician, and potentially getting on board with a type of therapy, whether it be physical or occupational. If they haven't already experienced that, a good way to prevent it is to do what Joan did: get strong, get healthy, and just make sure you're doing whatever you can to keep your body in good shape.
Well, thank you. Let me see. I think there's another question that just came up. My mom's doctor is suggesting physical therapy, but she's resisting. So again, how do we encourage her to go?
Well, if you have a physical therapist around, and she could have a conversation with them, she could find out that a lot of us aren't bad people. We're usually pretty friendly. We like to have a good time. But then also just letting her know the benefits of it. Hearing it from her family instead of a physician or somebody else she doesn't know could be a good start, as far as the education process goes.
Well, thank you. Let me
I want to add that, Stephanie, I want to add that if you can convince somebody to do something one time, okay, maybe don't convince them to start a program, but convince them to give it a try is always easier. And then, of course, Liana and Greg, here at our community, they do the rest. They're fully booked all the time because people, they love it. They fall in love with them, and they're super busy. So give it a try.
All right, let me see. I think we have time for one more question. And the question comes to insurance. So from a PT/OT standpoint, does insurance cover the cost if someone needed to go to physical or occupational therapy?
It will vary. So the best thing is, if you're interested in therapy, reach out to, like, in this community, they will reach out to their doctor who provides referral. And then on our end, you have to have your insurance checked to see, and it's going to vary for everyone. So I think that would be the first step, is first going ahead and getting signed up for therapy and determining, are there any out-of-pocket fees, and if so, how much. But it will vary for everyone, but it's worth, just going through the process.
And let me see. All right, just one more quick one. So you are physical and occupational therapy at Belmont Village. How often are you available for residents?
We are here daily. We're available daily.
Daily. So, okay. All right. And your hours, so it's 9 to 5. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much at all of our Belmont villages, we have what we call a Center for Life Enhancement. And in the Center for Life Enhancement, we offer outpatient physical therapy, occupational therapy, personal training services, and the gym is open 24 hours a day, and then the therapists are there 40 hours per week. And as Liana mentioned, many of the insurances do cover because we do a complimentary evaluation, send it to the primary care physician who will write a referral for those services to be covered. So that's pretty much how that works out.
Great. Well, Jackie, I'm going to then go ahead and turn it back to you because we're getting at the top of the hour. And I think that's all we have time for as far as the Q&A here. And Jackie, I'll just back to you.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everyone. We did want to reintroduce our trusted family advisor, Susan Berger, who's on the screen. And Susan, if you could just let the audience know how to reach you and what kind of questions you can answer, and then Anne will go ahead and put up your contact information.
Absolutely. So I'm here for any specific questions about Belmont Village. Any program from our independent living to our assisted living to our memory care support. We are here to help, to partner. I hope you can see the depth of what we believe is successful aging. And I look forward to all of you. My contact will be on the screen next. Thank you, Joan, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.